Being mayor, and it is a real pleasure because George is a long history of politics in the area. He joined the regional district when he was about 18, I think, and he sat for many, many years. And as far as Revelstoke goes, I don't think we could find a better supporter or somebody who understands our issues, the challenges we've got, the people we've got, and what it takes to succeed in our country. And honestly, I've been around government long enough that there are people that I enjoy being around, and there's some that I don't. George is one of the very few that I've really enjoyed being around ever since I've met him years ago, and a real honest, good fellow, friendly, straightforward, and if anything, unpretentious for his abilities. And I'm just really thrilled to be able to welcome you to Revelstoke and welcome you to the group that we've got here. I know that we're all supporters, and George, it's a real privilege.
Thanks so much, Dave. Thank you. Always a delight to visit Revelstoke. This is, for me, part of my traditional territory. As I grew up in Sicamous, Revelstoke was the big city and party town for me as a teenager. I had good friends over in Revelstoke and spent lots of time here and had family here, so this is like a second home for me in Revelstoke. It is an exceptional honor to be here with so many good friends from Revelstoke, former colleagues in local government at the regional district, and just good friends from over time. So thank you for that. I'm very much honored for that. I'm here with some friends tonight. This is my second visit to Revelstoke, and one of the friends I have with me tonight was also a candidate who is also making her second visit to Revelstoke during the campaign. Now you may wonder, why is it that George is bringing along other candidates from the campaign with him? Well, it's because I got some incredibly good news last week. Last week was a wonderful week for me. On Wednesday, my good buddy, my good friend, my colleague, wonderful Minister of Advanced Education, long-time physician in this province, great medical leader in this province for a long, long time, tremendously talented colleague. In fact, I'm wondering why I didn't drop out so that I could support her in the run, but I got really lucky. Dr. Moira Stillwell last Wednesday decided that she was going to leave the campaign, and to my absolute delight, Dr. Moira Stillwell endorsed me as a candidate last Wednesday. I'd like to ask her to come forward and say a few words to you.
I don't think I need a microphone, but I'm delighted to be back in Revelstoke again. The last time I was here, I don't remember there being this much snow, but it's a pleasure to be here. As George said last time I was here, I was a candidate for leadership, and although it was pretty obvious that I wasn't going to shake George country over to my side, I did make some new friends. Maria and Edie and Peter and Dave and a few other people I recognized from when I was here, and so it's really a pleasure to be back here. And of course I'm here to ask you for your support for George. And I suspect that's not a big reach because I know George is from this country and has been a great server of constituents for a long time. But I want to tell you why I'm supporting him and why I hope you'll make sure that your friends, family, and as I say, even your enemies support George on Saturday. So I've been a doctor for 32 years. So when I think of a leader, I'm looking for three things that I see in George. I'm looking for someone who gets the question.
Thank you, Moira. On the day after Moira endorsed me last Wednesday, the day after, we had some more incredibly good news for the George Abbott campaign. Ed Main, who I had gotten to know on the campaign trail, I knew Ed a little bit as the mayor of Parksville. He had been a great mayor for Parksville. He had been in business for 45 years in Ontario and British Columbia, and over the course of the weeks that we were on the road together, different forums and so on, got to know Ed, came to respect, admire, and really establish a great friendship with Ed. He's a great guy, very thoughtful, very knowledgeable, and he's a fisherman too. He's got that even going for him. He's a great guy, and I was very much honored when Ed decided to withdraw and to endorse the Abbott.
George mentioned that I've been in business for 45 years, and he's right. And it just seems like yesterday that I started, but I've had the privilege of working with some great leaders during that 45 years. Some actually just amazing people. And they all had the same personality traits. They were honest, they had integrity, they had credibility. They also had the ability to listen, even when they didn't agree. They respected your point of view and they listened to you. And over the time I've gotten to know George, he's got those same traits. He has that ability to take this province to where it needs to go. He is an honest guy. He's got great credibility and integrity. I think the world of him, and I've been very privileged to get to know him over this last little while. When I was in the race and there was 5 other opponents, one of the things that I noticed, well, first off, all 5 people were very capable. They were all really good people. But at the end of each of our forums and debates, I look back at it, and one always seemed to come to the top. He was always just a little bit better than everybody else. He had all the right answers. He said the right things. He had the managerial courage to say the things that needed to be said and to do the things that needed to be done. And I respected him for that. This man, in 2 days from now, 2 days right about now, we're going to be celebrating, and I'm going to be very proud to say that my good friend George Abbott is the Premier of the province of British Columbia.
Well, thanks so much, Ed. Thanks so much, Moira. Again, great pleasure to be here, and I wanted to begin by thanking all of you for keeping the faith over what has been, I think, an extraordinarily difficult period of time for the BC Liberal Party. I do think we lost our way for a time. A lot of that, I think, was the defensiveness and the isolation, the insularity that followed from the extraordinarily awkward way in which we attempted to introduce the HST. I think that we have not done a good job of politics in the last year and a half. In my respectful view, the challenge we have is that while the policies we enacted may have been the right policies, no matter how good a policy is, if you don't share the reasons why you're bringing it in with people, if you don't share the options with people, if you don't have the public be a part of the building of that public policy, people are not going to embrace it. And we've got to learn that fundamental lesson about politics from the last year and a half. We've got 2.5 years now as a government to rebuild the trust and confidence of British Columbians. It is going to be a big job. I am not one of those who believe for even a moment that we can have an early election and win it. I don't believe the public opinion polls of the moment. I believe there's a lot of residual anger there in the public, and I think that we have to get out. We have to talk to people. We have to hear that anger, because once we get through that anger, we'll start to hear the ideas. We'll start to hear the concerns. We'll start to hear some of the constructive and innovative solutions that government can undertake to help you meet your concerns and your problems. This is going to be an exciting 2.5 years ahead. I'm hoping on not only to win, but I believe that I can bring a certain set of skills to the leadership of the BC Liberal Party that are very much needed right now. And in particular, I think the BC Liberal Party needs leadership that's prepared to get out to different communities in different regions of the province on a regular basis. We haven't been doing that. When we have been out in communities, we've tended to meet behind closed doors. But we've got to get out to communities to meet with the town councils, the regional district boards, the chambers of commerce, First Nations, anyone, the health and school officials, anyone who would honor us with the opportunity to hear their ideas and their concerns. We've got to do that, and we've got to do that for every one of the 790 days from the time government reforms about March 15th to the next provincial election in May of 2013. We're going to need every one of those 790 days, I believe, to convince British Columbians that we're prepared to listen, that we're prepared to hear their concerns, that we're prepared to put the public back in public policy, and that we're prepared to listen to their concerns and build collaborative solutions to those concerns with them. That has got to be the role of government for the next 2.5 years if we are going to win again in 2013 as a BC Liberal government. So I hope that some of my past experiences will be useful in that regard. I am, as I think everyone in the room probably knows, I'm from Sicamous. Born in Enderby, raised in Sicamous, raised on a farm in Sicamous that's probably better known here in Revelstoke than I am. Abbott's Berry Farm, from all the years that people came and picked strawberries and blueberries and raspberries at Sicamous at our farm. It was a great way to grow up. It's certainly a way to remind oneself about the importance of being humble in every circumstance, because it's important to be that. It's important not to forget that there are real people out there with real problems that need to have those problems addressed, and we've not been doing a good job of that. My experience on the Regional District Board and Jeff Battersby, Aldous Focus, other good friends from my time in local government, I learned so much about the business of government from 16 years on the Regional District Board. That is huge in my life. I think I may have a modest talent in terms of being able to bring out the best in people, to have people work together despite sometimes personality differences or regional differences or ideological differences. It's really important to have the ability, particularly at this time and particularly in the leadership of the BC Liberal Party today, to have that ability to work together with people to solve problems, because we have to, again, convince people that we are able to do that, because there is a lot of anger out there and there is a lot of distrust and lack of confidence in our government. But we can, I am confident, turn that around. I am confident that not only can we win the 2013 election, we can actually win that election in a bigger way than we won in 2009. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'm prepared to give it that work. I've had a great experience here for now over 100 days on the road seeking this leadership. I have been countless miles across this province, probably attended several hundred meetings, met over 10,000 people face to face, and it has been fun. That is the way I would characterize the last over 100 days is fun. It is so great, again, to be out of Victoria, to be in communities, to be meeting people, to be hearing the real world concerns of those people. And when it's not any fun doing that anymore, it's time to get out of politics. We have to start having fun again as a government, because solving problems is fun. You got to hear the problems before you can solve them. You got to get out of Victoria. You got to get to Revelstoke. You got to get to Smithers. You got to get to Terrace and Telquah and Dawson. You got to hear the real world concerns of problems and set about solving those problems in partnership with local governments, in partnership with provincial governments, with all of the people of the province. And that is the fun, that's the excitement of government. We need to bring that back again, because we have become very defensive and very insular. We need to break that down and start having fun as BC Liberals, start having fun as a BC Liberal government again in this province. So that's my commitment to you, that I will work tirelessly on your behalf to not only reach out and regain that trust and confidence, but I will work tirelessly to win that 2013 election.